Alright, so you've decided you want to do some inner child healing, and this video has found its way to you, or you clicked on the video knowing that you need to do some inner work, or you are tired of pursuing the same type of people, you are feeling stuck, you don't have a good self-esteem, or you lack confidence and you don't know how to go from here, and you're repeating the same mistakes in relationships, or you're struggling to create any healthy connections. If you want to live a more joyous and fulfilling life, there are some things that you're going to have to work on in order to break those patterns, and inner child healing is one way to do that. Inner child healing is releasing old traumas and old baggage that is no longer serving you. So that includes defense mechanisms and adaptations that we develop when we are in an environment that allows us to still be there, but we develop defenses that allow us to survive. And when we get to the point past survival and we want to thrive in life, we have to take down those defenses, or perhaps to heal the hurt from within, so that the defenses come down and we've released the wounds that hold us back, so we can create a more joyous life. This video is for you. So what is inner child healing? There basically comes a time in everyone's life where they are growing up and they're realizing that old things and patterns that they used to do no longer serves them. And when we are growing to about the age of 8 or 7, we feel our way through the world. We experienced and felt the world rather than think and rationalize of how vast the world could be. So given that our cognitive brain doesn't actually develop until about 7 or 8, it's understandable that we use our body to experience the world, and in doing so we are collecting information through our felt sense to learn from the others around us, including our parents, on how to live. And that includes making relationships or forming relationships in the beginning and looking at examples of how they should be. Now, if that example is not the healthiest example, regardless, you will pick it up because that's your first prime example of how relationships should be. So we do form a blueprint. So when we think about learning these conditioning and these rules about relationships and confidence and even self-esteem and body image and everything that ties into who we are as people, the things that we saw in the household and the way that we learn to interact and react is stored in the body and also the subconscious mind. So if you think of right now a memory about your childhood or something that you remember, either positive or negative, the first thing you remember is how you feel or how you felt in that moment, even though you see the image of the memory being played back. And so the thoughts and the feelings that we felt in that moment get frozen and locked into our being, and it is frozen in time and space. And so if that experience or that memory that you just recalled was negative, we freeze that memory in our body, but we also reject a lot of the parts in us that feel that emotion to keep ourselves from pain. And so the defense mechanism is created in order to basically protect ourselves and indirectly meet our needs by rejecting a part of ourselves and identifying and accepting everything that the carer is to us. In the simplest way to put it, inner child healing work is just tapping back into that child and going from here to here in the heart and feeling everything in the body. And of course, this is not going to be some sort of one magical quick fix. However, if you do work through layers, you get to discover not only who the child was in a deeper way, but also how you can integrate that part of yourself and really just move forward as an adult in the most healthiest and most productive way that you can. When we go back to our inner child, we can either reframe the situation, we can bring some adult knowledge into the child's self-memory, we can hold the child's hand, we can meet the child's needs as an adult who's also in the picture. And the other thing we can do is we can take out that child and lead them hand in hand with your adult self and your child self out of the situation, as a farewell or a goodbye to that memory, to integrate back into our being. This is where visualizations and meditations come in hand really usefully. This is where meditations and visualizations go hand in hand, and is probably one of the best things that I ever did to integrate my inner child and my teen, my toddler, and all these different parts. So I will recommend some towards the end. A little about my own personal journey when it comes to the inner child. I have been all up in my head for so long, but recently I've been working with my inner child again, working through shame, and I'm going through a phase in my life where I have to revisit my inner child experience as well. So this work is not just one and done, it's more like you work through layers, like I mentioned, and you keep revisiting, because again there will be memories that come up again, or triggers, or romantic partners are going to trigger a part of you that you thought was, integrated, but really it just needs a little bit more work. You have this emotional trigger that you can work with. So when it comes to my own experience, I started my spiritual journey about 6 years ago or something. But whenever I feel a blockage or an insecurity or a disconnect, I feel like a floating head a lot of the time, just because my body and my mind were disconnected, and that gap, there is a missing link. So whatever I would do is to try to drop or visualize even dropping back into the body and connect with that childhood self, or that insecurity, or that trigger, or that emotional reaction, and just actually talk to it. That is the simplest form of inner child work or inner part work that you can do, is chat to the person. I say person, I mean part. Talk to that part, ask questions, have compassion, and literally treat it like a child. Whenever I would feel that in the body, I would re-experience a memory with her in the time that it happened. I would visualize holding her hand, reassuring her, crying, basically releasing that emotional charge that's still frozen in time in the body. And nowadays I keep a photo of my younger self on my desk, so that whenever I'm doing something, or whenever I think a negative thought or some sort of reaction arises in me, I look at her and know that she's safe, she's in my heart. And after you do the meditations, you will notice how connected you are to yourself, but also that part of you is never left, it's never forgotten, and you can always reassure yourself and her or him, so that way you feel complete in yourself, and that's the goal. So she's always with me whenever I do anything, and I did a meditation which I will share in this video that helped me and brought a lot of peace to my system. Okay, so the simplest way to do that is to create a safe space. So you want to sit somewhere in a quiet, comfortable place where you're not going to be disturbed. So before bed, or in the morning, or whenever there's not people around, you want to connect with your breath and take some deep breaths, and allow yourself to relax and focus on dropping from the mind into the body. And if the thoughts come in, don't attach to them. Remember, they're like clouds. Don't let them just sit and ruminate. Just be an observer, watch them come and go. You want to imagine your inner child, or visualize yourself as a child in a situation or a memory that you want to work through. Reassure yourself that you're safe and that your adult self is with you, and any feelings that are coming up are valuable and it's okay. Describe to yourself what they look like, what they're doing, feeling, seeing. The next thing you want to do is you want to talk to your inner child. So you want to start having a conversation with that part of you, and then ask how they're feeling, what's going on, what they need from you. This part is where you meet the needs of that child. and you listen to their responses without judgment. You can imagine embracing them with a hug, or taking them away, or telling them that they're loved and valued, and then you offer them whatever they say to you that they need. Depending on what your specific goal is, you can lead that visualization in a specific way. So if you ever need help, reach out. I will be taking on clients on teaching them how to connect with the self. You can also try to do it through guided meditations that you can find on YouTube. But with that, I say be careful who you choose, because the intention behind the video and the visualization is very important. Make sure that they're quality. But the other resources are John Bradshaw, Walking the Child Home to Your Heart, really helped me, and Healing the Shame That Binds You. And also look into Teal Swan's completion process for this section of healing. Thank you for watching.